Hello everyone, welcome to this audio podcast. Where in this audio podcast will be an overview this audio podcast intermission series in around the audio podcast intermission series in around the Labostix monstrosity as part of a scientific syndrome. This audio podcast series looks at this audio podcast series will have audio podcasts in around looking at biomarkers and the influence on detection of renal insufficiency. Uh, um, uh, Looking at polypharmacy and nephrology in context of specific bases around kidney care. There is in this series, as part of this intermission series, there's an audio podcast looking at physical activity and looking at physical activity and looking at pre-transplantation and sort of pilot findings following a collaborative webinar in around a sort of collaborative effort that had collaborative effort between different healthcare professionals, but also where the audio podcast provides a basis in around peer review works from 2019, and then finally there's an audio podcast that looks at physical activity and post-transplantation but where there's a basis in around looking at sort of the elucidation of biochemical and hematological laboratory parameters in context of those important laboratory parameters that specialists ensure are verified and validated to ensure that patients suffering with chronic kidney disease, for example, have and get the best care from frontline healthcare professionals, and where this particular audio podcast delves into peer review works from 2000 from in around 2016 So that draws this audio podcast synopses to a close. This has been an audio podcast audio podcast overview and synopses in around the Labostix monstrosity, part of a scientific syndrome and part of an intermission series, and part of an audio podcast, part of another ZtormLabostix production.